men's basketball coach. We have some great tradition, great history, great success. For me, I'm very excited about this year's team, excited about the work that we've put in from June 1st till now. Reflecting from our Kansas State game is one that you have to see how you can get better. And from that, we were able to watch film as a group and continue to get better. We're facing a tough Howard program, coached by Kenny Blakeney, coach that I respect so greatly. It's his sixth year, but he's someone with a well-versed background at different programs from Seton Hall to Harvard. Definitely a good coach in his own right. One of the best in the mid-major level. They return a player of the year in Bryce Harris, who unfortunately had an injury last season and couldn't compete. But more importantly, he's back now looking to return from their success, being able to go to two NCAA tournaments, during that time of his healthiness. And last year he wasn't able to. So I'm excited about this game, the venture, the challenge, and it's not going to be easy.
Questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, just looking back at the Kansas State game, what were some of the things you took away from it, watching film with the team?
We did a great job taking care of the basketball in the second half. I thought to be able to end that game with 11 or 12 turnovers, less than that, was a great accomplishment. Being able to play multiple guys on our team and our program, double-digit minutes, that meant a lot. That's what I wanted to do, especially with our freshmen, Aaron Rowe and Nicholas Randall. And then with our newcomers, we have a great class of portal guys that I think can help us. And you mesh that with the returner. So I was happy about being able to distribute the minutes and get guys reps and kind of give them an opportunity to show who they are to a T. So I'm excited about that. Kansas State is a great program. Jerome Tang is a great coach. Being able to compete against an old Big 8, Big 12 rival is definitely a great thing.
Coach, the glimpses you got to see of Sean Phillips Jr., what do you feel like especially in that exhibition game, what do you feel like he can bring to the court for this team this season, kind of length and size wise?
Well, vertical threats, right? I think that's important, and having a presence in the paint of his disposition. I think when you guys see him play, you're probably looking at, man, we hadn't had that in some years here at Missouri, no matter what season it's been. And to have an athletic 7-footer who shows potential, and not just potential, but if you look at his last 10 games, being able to average, near double-double and flirt around with that in addition to shot blocking is something that's needed in college basketball. It's something that gives you a edge, and it's a different threat offensively and defensively. He's quick off the ground. He has a high basketball IQ. His teammates love him. He's a great teammate. If I had to look at it and to a T, he's probably one of those guys, along with Ant Robinson and Mark Mitchell, that has been a vocal leader for us behind the scenes and also in huddles.
Looking back at
Dennis,
go ahead, Gabe.
Dennis, I was just going to say, not a lot of power conference programs might play this game on the road. Why did you want to, or why was it important to you to schedule this game?
Well, twofold is very important for a couple reasons. We're given a budget for scheduling, and I have to, as the head men's basketball coach, to operate within my budget and use creative ways to do that. I inherited some games during my transition and some tournaments that I didn't think was conducive for our program. And to be able to buy out of contracts, be able to change contracts and things like that, that allowed us to spend more money in that area versus concentrating on single games. So as we got into last season, in addition to a home opener, Howard became a team that stood out because they were playing at Kansas. So therefore, I was able to look at it from a different perspective and innovation and go for a 2-for-1 simply because of budget, in addition to location of that game. We opened our season against Howard. They were at Kansas, so I called Kenny immediately and tried to figure out if we can get them to make that stop for our home opener last season. They committed to that, but also it gives us an opportunity to return the game. And contract says we paid a certain amount less than what you would normally pay a team. And it's not about always pay, it's about who that program is. They were coming off of a NCAA tournament, two to be exact. So it gave us a strength of schedule. It gives us a look based off of some SEC foes that we play. He's a great coach, one of the best mid-major coaches out there. I believe no one has done a complete job how he has, complete turnaround and a rebuild. So for me, I wanted to take the opportunity from a budget standpoint, in addition to who and what the program was about. It stood out that they were the best to do that with. From an educational standpoint, no matter what's going on in our country, we're still Americans and we have a capital. And I wanted our guys, no different than I did at Cleveland State, to have an experience at the nation's capital. And, at some point, big picture, our players are going to appreciate and look back that they were able to play at Howard. In addition to that, next season, they return a game. And instead of paying $120,000, we're paying them only a fraction of that. So several things goes into it. The hostile environment will allow us to train a certain way leading into that point, no different than we did last season leading into the Memphis game. And then now being able to go in a hostile environment and give our very best. And that's what our guys are going to do.
After reviewing the Kansas State game, what are some of the biggest areas of improvement or areas of growth that you're keeping an eye on over the first couple of weeks of the season?
Well, it's about how guys mesh and team building and player development and what we've done in our pursuit of excellence since June 1st. Does those things come to fruition? And from an execution standpoint, we saw things show up. And I'm excited about it. Mark Mitchell, Ant Robinson, Sebastian Mack are probably three of the best college players at drawing fouls. They're all downhill guys. You look at their consistent stats in those areas. They've done a great job, so to speak, in that area of execution. In addition to that, you're able to see the growth of a T.O. Beard, Honor Boateng. You get to see Ant Robinson's development, Mark Mitchell's development, all the work behind the scenes you get to see. You get to see the leadership of our returners, how they've put their hands and arms around the new guys. And when I say the new guys, I mean our freshmen and those that transferred from other programs. No matter what research I've done during the recruiting process, Sean Phillips Jr. has gotten better. Sebastian Mack has gotten better. Jaden Stone has gotten better. Luke Northweather has definitely gotten better. And Javon Porter has gotten better. So I'm excited about those guys out of the portal getting better, but also what they're able to give us as a program.
Dennis, you touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the advantages of opening a season on the road like this?
Opening a season on the road, just think about our schedule. We're fortunate enough to have Illinois every year. We're fortunate enough to have a 6-year contract with Kansas, and we're on our last 2 years. I would love to have that renewed because it does so much. We did a home and home, and now it's 2 neutral sites in that respect. Being able to have a SEC, ACC challenge, that's another factor in our scheduling. You try to put your team in situations that works for you. Everybody runs their own race, and on Selection Sunday, that resume comes to fruition. The SEC conference gives us a bulk of games where we can earn our net rankings and everything else. So that's there. You want to galvanize your team. There's no better way to do that than on the road. So you get a sense of team building, you get a sense of camaraderie, you get to uproot them. And then you have a slew of games where they're comfortable, especially with the end of the semester going through. I know everybody's not talking about academics during this NIL world, but kids do have finals and they have a schedule where you can't have games on certain days. So we're not disrupting their schedule. So I want to get that part out the way early so we can build from there and then go into our neutral site games right before the SEC. But we have some great games on our schedule. Last year at Memphis, that was a return game, home and home. And obviously Howard University, which was and is a 3-game series, 2-for-1. Being able to get on that road just gives you a different focus and a different training regimen leading into your first game. We were able to do that comfortably with a home game against K-State. So now can we go out on the road and continue the things we've been working on all summer? The identity is what I want to build, and being on the road allows us to build that.
Dennis, in addition to just the road environment, what are some ways you're expecting that Howard can test you?
Howard will test us. It's not a matter of think. They've had this game circled as well. There's no doubt about it. Think of their schedule. They had a game against ranked Cincinnati 3 straight years as well. And they took them to the wire, should have won that game at Howard University. They were able to go to Georgia Tech, and against Georgia Tech, they were leading +10, should have won that game. They were able to beat Bradley at Bradley. They were able to do a ton of things. And even last year, it was a 4-point game, I think, with 3 minutes to go here at Missouri. So it's not about just what we have circled. They're circling us. They're preparing for us. They're going into this season trying to protect home court. So I know it's going to be a hostile environment. I know we're going to get their very best, both as a coaching staff and as a program from individual players. Regardless who's on that roster, they returned Bryce Harris, who was the MEAC preseason player of the year last year, but he was, there was a setback with an injury. And I truly believe this team would have went to 3 straight NCAA tournaments had he been healthy. Well, he's healthy now. Sure, he has different teammates. They have about 10 newcomers, but that kid will play NBA, G League at some point. There's no doubt about it. But they play a team game. And I'm excited to put my team, our program, on the road against a great program and a great coach and great players, no different than the SEC would present the same problems and pose the same situation. So it'll be tough. It'll be a very, very tough game, and it will require us to be at our very best.
Dennis, you've spoken about Ant Robinson and sort of just the way over the course of the last couple of years you've coached him hard in his development. For you, I wonder what, going into the 3rd year now, how does that look differently in terms of his development and also just the relationship that you guys have now that you've built this over a couple of years here?
Well, I'll continue to coach Ant Robinson hard. There's no doubt about it. That's the amount of trust that his parents have put into me to do that, in addition to our entire staff, whether it's Matt Klein on the offensive end, Ryan Sharbaugh on the defensive end. We all have something to pour into Ant Robinson, and we've been doing that over the years. What I'm excited about is Ant Robinson being an upperclassman, the game slowing down, the jump that he made from freshman to sophomore year. Let's see what type of jump he makes from sophomore to junior year. Those things are what is valuable when you have a returning nucleus, but also a person in a point guard position that knows your system, that can pass the culture from newcomer to newcomer, and also be sort of like a translator in what I have to deliver to the group. What I want him to become is more vocal off the court, in addition to in huddles. He's been doing that. That takes time. Those things don't happen overnight. So part of Ant Robinson's journey is going from 20 minutes of last year's play per game to let's see him over 30 minutes, and let's see what those stats, not necessarily efforts or new things that he'll do, but let's look at the sample size growing up to 30 minutes. And that's what I'm curious about, and we'll see in real time.
I wondered,
Dennis,
for you, with a guy like that, I think you've spoken before about you don't see a whole lot of those 3-year guys anymore. But like for a guy like that, how does that, I guess maybe almost serve as a example, a chip or something like that for your program, just in terms of like when you go out and you're still recruiting, guys who are going to come in as freshmen.
Well, think about this. Ant Robinson was on a defensive team of 5 guys that existed. 4 of them were upperclassmen. None of them returned other than Ant Robinson, who was the only sophomore on that list. That makes him preseason defensive player of the year at the point guard spot. And I think he's an all SEC type of player. He'll get there. He'll get the respect in due time. You look at the nucleus and the culture of teams that went to the Final Four. They had a nice group of guys returning, and that's an element that you have to have. Yes, it's portal. Yes, it's high school, but you got to have a balance of guys being able to return in your program, have the experience in SEC play. And I'm excited not only what he brings, but the minutes he returned, the minutes that Trent Pierce returns, the minutes that Mark Mitchell returns, the minutes that Jacob Cruz, T.O. Beard, who won some games for us, Honor Boateng. And I'm excited about what Trent Burns brings to the table. I think we have a good group of guys that can put their arms around what my expectations are and pass it seamlessly to the newcomers. And those newcomers have been receptive to the coaching, but also to the leadership and being led by former players and players that have been here, regardless of where they're coming from and what level.
We got time for one last question.
Yeah, Dennis, do you anticipate having everybody available for Monday night, and specifically Burns and Pierce and Mark after kind of taking that fall in the exhibition?
Yeah, I think the best thing about that is we put out those reports. That's a new rule, right? Being able to put out those reports on who's available and who's not. I'm excited about what I've seen with Trent Burns and his development. Obviously, we're going to pace that, right? We're going to see where that is. As it relates to Trent Pierce, we'll find out the same way. It was great to see him practice today. There's no doubt about it. But I don't want to force guys. I think what we have seen against Kansas State is our depth. And that's what I focus on the most. That's why it's important to always have it. I think we have capable guys coming off the bench who can start. That doesn't put us in a position to lose anything compared to years past when we've experienced an injury. I was excited to see, Mark Mitchell and Ant Robinson and all our guys practice. I mean, we've had great practices. So for me, those are my specifics, and I'll dive into making a decision on who's available after I talk and meet with our trainer. But also meet with individual kids on how they're feeling.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, MIZ.